I always forget the mic. Well, not always. 2 times. Morning. Rumble, poor Richard. Yeah. I own Rumble shares. I've been buying Rumble shares little by little. That's my dark horse dark horse investment. Rum. Should I start posting my videos on Rumble? Morning, guys. How's everyone doing? Yeah, Kreider, overtime, Chef, has a good game. Yep, big day. Big day, FOMC. Big day. Going to be very important for the short term. Probably, yeah, this is the sure SM7B. Sure is. I love it. Yeah, big day, major event. I'm going to talk through a little bit about what happened yesterday here on the stream. There was some very, the news that came out yesterday was very important for today. If you're sort of staying in tune with, how that jobs data is affecting the Federal Reserve's decisions, it is definitely important. So we'll talk a little bit about that. It's probably one of the major reasons you saw downside yesterday was because of the news that you saw yesterday come out, which sort of affected the whole the rumor that the Fed is going to pivot their policy. So I don't know where this comes from, right? I don't know where this policy change, rumor, Fed pivot, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know how those rumors sort of seek out of the wounds. They sort of sneak out into the rumor, into the media, and then everyone starts believing it. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because of Canada. That's probably why you started to see some of that rumor come out, because Canada went ahead and got a little bit more dovish on their policy, and then maybe people started to think that we would follow suit. But the news that we saw yesterday, the data we saw yesterday, sort of makes that a little bit less believable. So that's what we'll talk about today. I think it's important to understand what happened yesterday. We'll go through that. We'll go through the futures. We'll go through some stocks to watch today. But again, guys, remember today's FOMC, 2:00, 2:30. Jerome Powell will be speaking, and the technical analysis that we do here today should be taken with a grain of salt. It should be taken with a grain of salt, right? Because whatever we talk about today can be very harshly different at 2:00 and 2:30, right? So we can't come into today with, really distinct levels and think that they're going to hold up post FOMC, because that is a major macroeconomic event and it will invalidate technical analysis, right? I say this a lot, but you need to understand that, all right? So let's do it. Thank you guys again for being here. Press that like button if you guys want. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. All right. So today's the 2nd, November 2nd. Economic earnings calendar futures. Let's go ahead and just pop this up. If you are not aware of this, please be aware of this. I am sure I will get plenty of messages today about what happened at 2:00. I get this every FOMC day. Why did the market move at 2:00? If you do not know what is happening at 2:00 today, please log off the computer, go outside, enjoy your day. Do not get involved. You have to understand the macroeconomic events that are going on in the market. But I still get people that message me that say, why did the market move at 2:00? Please, this is big, right? This can totally if you get into, let's say, a call option at 158 and you're trading a little bull flag, you like this little bull flag, you like this retest, I'm liking this technical setup, and then 2 o'clock hits and the stock market goes straight down, right? You are in a very bad position. So this is very important. All right. This morning, ADP employment report. This is actually important as well, right? This is going to be very important. We're going to see this live in about 10 minutes. So this will also affect possibly, they're probably already set on their decision, but this will give the market some insight into that employment report. This is important for, employment and jobs data is important for the Federal Reserve's decisions. Rental vacancy rate, I'm not sure how much that's important. 2 o'clock today, FOMC announcement. 2:30, Fed Chair Jerome Powell press conference. He will be speaking live. You guys know, if you've traded FOMC before, there is 2 moves typically. There is the 2 o'clock move, and then there is a 2:30 move, right? It almost always reverses or continues to the single direction, right? There's always 2 different moves here. So be very careful, right? If we go straight up at 2 o'clock and then Fed Chair Jerome Powell, comes out at 2:30 and talks about something that's hawkish, we can come straight back down, right? So there could be very well 2 different moves here at 2 o'clock and 2:30. Please, 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 please be careful around this time. Tomorrow we have jobless claims. We have PMI numbers, ISM Services Index. Not so sure how important this will be. I don't think it will change the effect of this day today, 2 o'clock and 2:30. And then Friday is pretty major too. The non-farm payrolls, the unemployment rate, the average hourly earnings, labor force participation. So with this said, now I want to quickly get into, what happened yesterday. So I'm going to pull this up so that you can read this yourself. But basically what happened yesterday was we had the job openings and job quits. Now, the job openings was higher than expected, right? So you had more job openings than expected, meaning that the job market is strong, right? There's more jobs open. People are still working. It's a strong jobs market. And this is the inverse of what the Federal Reserve is targeting to become more dovish. The Federal Reserve wants to get more dovish if the jobs market is weak, right? If the jobs market is weakening, if the job market is tight, then they feel like they can be a little bit more dovish. Then they feel like their policy has done its job and they can start to loosen up and start to be a little bit more dovish. But yesterday, you got the jobs market that was still strong. And this goes against the whole Fed pivot rumor that's going on, right? The Fed pivot, the rumor, whatever you want to call it, would have been more likely if the job market was strong or was weak yesterday. And we actually got numbers that it was strong. So this sort of put a kink in that Fed policy thing that everyone's talking about. And I believe this is one of the major reasons why the market moved lower, because we have been moving higher on the hope and belief that we would get a Fed policy pivot. So that was sort of what happened yesterday. And you can sort of read about this all on the internet, right? So for example, here's one. Wall Street slips as job data dents hopes for Fed rate deceleration, right? And it says right here, I don't have this. Actually, it actually is here. So it says Tuesday, after data indicating that the labor market remained on a solid ground, dimmed hopes that the Federal Reserve might have enough reason to begin reducing the size of interest rate hikes, right? So the strong jobs market actually dimmed the hopes of a interest rate deceleration. And that is why you saw that downside yesterday. And this is also why the market has been moving higher in the short term, because of the hopes of a deceleration of interest rates. Now, today, we figure out whether this is true or not, right? Now we get to figure out whether you get the upside, right, off the, right, if the Fed becomes any more dovish, if they decelerate their policy at all, then I would assume you get your upside. If that is not the case, then I would assume you get your downside. But we'll go through that in a little bit more detail later today when we do our futures. let's just continue. I hope that that little explanation from yesterday makes sense, right? I hope you guys get that. I hope you understand why the market moved lower off that news yesterday. It makes quite a bit of sense. You just need to sort of dig through, exactly how everything's sort of affecting each other. All right. So, what did we do? We did economic. Let's go earnings calendar real quick. Kasim, thank you, my friend. $20. Thank you for the hard work. I appreciate that. Thanks, Kasim. Thanks for always being here. All right. Let's pull up this earnings calendar right quick. So, yesterday, after hours, we got AMD, we got Airbnb. Those are the two big ones. I believe Airbnb is lower, and I believe AMD is slightly higher, but it's still under that 63 level. So we need to watch AMD under that 63 level. This is a big level on AMD. So that was yesterday. We'll take a look at that. This morning, nothing major. CVS. Tonight, Roku, Qualcomm, Robinhood, Etsy. Some interesting ones. I'm interested in Qualcomm because I want to see how the semiconductor space looks. I'm very interested in the semiconductor space as of right now. I think this is probably one of the better opportunities out there for younger investors that are looking to come into the stock market. I think the semiconductor space is at a very nice discount, especially for how important semiconductors will be to the United States and the world's future. So I'm definitely keeping eyes on the semiconductor space pretty closely. AMD yesterday, Qualcomm today. Interested in watching that. You have NVIDIA in a few weeks. That's a big one as well. Royal Caribbean, Datadog, Moderna, Crocs. Some interesting ones here. Nothing crazy. PayPal, Coinbase, Block, Twilio, Carvana, Starbucks, Fubo, DraftKings. So we got some earnings here, but I don't think these earnings will affect the market as much as the economic calendar that we have this week. All right. That's that. Major or Tesla back under 230, back under that channel. That's a big rejection point. Major flush on Amazon. I don't know if you guys saw Amazon yesterday, but that thing was weak. I mean, Amazon went down all day. Huge flush on the weekly chart. A very important level was lost yesterday on Amazon, and it was a strong underperformer yesterday. I couldn't believe it, honestly. It was a crazy move. So Amazon straight to the downside yesterday. We'll take a look at that. AMD 63, NVIDIA 134. We'll take a look at those two. Big Google and Microsoft underperformance as well. I want to go ahead and point those out. Netflix went ahead and broke that 290 level. This is something I'm looking for as well. And then we'll mix in a few more names in there. But then I also want to go over the sectors. XLE, XLF, XLP, XLV. That is semiconductors. That's energy. That's healthcare. That is financials. So I want to go ahead and look at those sectors, give you guys a good idea of what those sectors have been doing over the last few days. All right? And then if you guys want to put your tickers into the live stream form, make sure to do that as well. Let's get started. Once again, thank you guys for being here. Press that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and let's do it. So let's get a longer term look here. This is really where I think this is important. I don't think any of the short-term levels short-term levels are important today, but these moves are the most important. Let's start with the bullish and a bearish scenario here, right? Let's start with the bullish scenario. I don't really care for either side, but let's start with the bullish scenario. Bullish scenario would be the market likes the Federal Reserve's policy. Maybe there's something longer term that becomes a little bit more dovish. Let's say maybe they hike the same this time, but they say, our longer term view has changed, and we're going to start to lower interest rate hikes in, maybe next year, or we're going to start to lower our final interest rate, Fed funds rate target. Let's say something comes out and the market likes it. This will be the move that has to happen right here. You will need to break this long-term downtrend, and you will need to break this 11,600. If you see a move like this, then I would expect continuation here. I think this is a major breakout point. If you get anything that's bullish today, I would expect to see a break of 11.6, a break of this long-term downtrend, and a sort of squeeze above this downtrend. That would be my expectation if the market moves to the upside off FOMC. You have a long-term downtrend since about August, right? So here, and you can see we're starting to reject it here. I would watch this long-term downtrend right here, right? ADP, yeah, ADP. Let me see that ADP number real quick. Okay, ADP employment change 239, estimate was 185. So that's again a strong number for the jobs market, for employment. 239 versus 185. So again, that is a strong jobs market. How's the market? Market sort of move lower off of it, right? So the stronger this jobs market stays, the Fed can remain aggressive. So that's again a little bit of a bearish number there for the market. We'll see how it continues to react. But anyways, rejection, and we're sitting at it again. If there's something that's bullish on the Fed on FOMC today, that would be the level I'd be watching for, right? That push right there, that long-term downtrend, the break of it, and the downs and the upside through it. If the market does not like the Federal Reserve, the FOMC statement today, if there's no signs of pivot, if the current policy is staying in place, all those hopes that there would be a Fed pivot, those all go away, then I think you're going to reject this level like you already did. I think you're going to reject this long-term downtrend. And if you break this short-term channel, right, I think you're going to see some downside right here. You could also just call this a bear flag, right, over the last few weeks right here. This could be a bear flag, right? You could see that this is sort of a uptrending move into a flat top, right? Rejection. If we see downside on the market today, this could be a very aggressive bear flag break here. So we are sitting at a very important level, right, on the market. When you zoom out here on the 4-hour, you're looking at either a major bear flag breakdown on FOMC if it's weak, or you are looking at a breakout of this 11.6 level and a breakout of this longer-term 4-hour downtrend. So that's really all I'm watching today, right? I'm not really too focused on, what the short-term levels are. I'm more focused on this long-term downtrend, whether that breaks to the upside, or I'm focused on this little short-term uptrend that is creating a bear flag. And if the market is weak, I'm looking for that downside move. All right? That's really the most important two things to watch out for, in my opinion, here today. The flat top at 11.6 is very important as well. You can clearly see the rejections that continue to come in here at 11.6 every single time. So you have to break that 11.6 if you want to see any type of upside, if that even comes today. ES is the same thing, guys. Exact same thing on the ES. Here's the 4-hour long-term downtrend. You can see right here, rejection, and you're sitting at it again. You can see that is sort of being respected as well on the ES. So bullish case, if you see the market move up, you need to break 39.30. You need to break that long-term downtrend, and maybe you can get your squeeze to the upside over this rejection point. Bearish case, right? You come up into this rejection point. You reject here. You reject 39.30 again. You break this little short-term channel, and you start to slip under it. Little bear flag breakdown or a channel break to the downside, right? So that is what I would be watching today on the NASDAQ ES. I think these are the most important. I would watch this short-term channel. I would watch this long-term downtrend, and I would watch the 39.30. What happens, right? We're sort of right at it's funny how the market works, right? Because you are sitting right at sort of the point of no return to either direction. One side has to win here, right? You're not going to just continue to creep up here, right? You're not going to just do this forever. Something has to happen at this it's almost like an intersection on the market, right? There has to be a turn to an either direction. You either get the big breakout of the long-term downtrend and the 39.30, or you get the big flush of the rejection of the long-term downtrend, rejection of 39.30, and the break of this short-term channel, right? So market's sort of at an intersection here, has to make a move, and it's funny that it's there because we have, what do we have today? We have FOMC, which is the perfect catalyst to create a big move here on the market. So definitely watching that today. Dow Jones, it's a little bit disconnected to this overall, downtrend. It's sort of disconnected from this ES and NASDAQ move. But I would just sort of keep an eye on how the Dow sort of rejects this 32.8, 32.7 level. It's starting to reject it already, right? You guys can see right here, it's starting to reject it here. If we go to the shorter term, I would say just watch yesterday's lows. That would be my best recommendation to you guys. Watch yesterday's lows. If you do break below yesterday's lows, I would expect more downside on the Dow. And then watch this 32,750. You guys can clearly see the rejections that are coming in here this morning already. So I would watch yesterday's lows from right here, right? This is around 32.5, and I would watch 32,750. Which way does it break out here? That would be my watch on the Dow. Dow's a little bit disconnected. I like how you draw a channel. Geez, thanks, GC. That was funny yesterday. And then finally, the Russell guys, again, a little bit disconnected from the overall NASDAQ ES move lately. But I would just watch this 1840 level, right? This retest level. If we lose this, then I would look for downside, right? If we lose this, I would look for downside, right? This was a previous rejection point that turned into support. If we hold this, then I'd look for, if we get a market move to the upside, then I'm assuming the Russell will follow. But this is the major level to watch here on the Russell, 1840. This little retest zone. I think the most important here, guys, is the NASDAQ ES, right? That's everything here, right? If you lose this uptrend on the NASDAQ right here, if you lose this uptrend, if you turn this into a bear flag, it's going to get aggressive, I think. And if you break out of this major supply, then I think you can see a move to the upside. On the ES, you guys can see there's your channel. If you break that, I would assume the downside flush comes in. There's your long-term downtrend. If you get an upside move, then I would look for that push, that squeeze over that level. All right. So these are definitely the things to watch today. Make sure to have these levels on your chart. Please make sure to be careful before 2 o'clock. There's going to be a major move, and you have to make sure you protect yourself. All right. Let's continue. One second, guys. All right. Tesla. Damn, I got a lot of lines on Tesla. All right. 1 hour. So Tesla's right back under the channel, right? It's just sitting right back under the channel. We couldn't get over 230. It rejected it. It came back under it, and now it's just stuck. So, today we'll have to see. I would just sort of monitor. Again, guys, we're going to look at some individual stocks. But of course, you have to remember 2 o'clock could invalidate all of this. Just please remember that. So I would say 230 to 218 is your Tesla channel. If you break out of 230, if you can hold it as support moving forward, then I would look for that continuation. If you see downside today on the market, I would look for a move back to 218 on Tesla. If you get downside today, if there's a reaction to the downside at 2 o'clock, I would look for Tesla to slip into that 218, and then I would watch to see what happens there. But watch this channel, 230 to 218. If we zoom out here on the daily chart, actually let's go 4 hour. You can see that we're really just we're trying to find some type of bottom here. We're attempting to hold this 205, 206 level. You're attempting to create some type of uptrend off this low. But if you reject this 230 here, right? If you do not get over this 230, if the market sees weakness today, you could very well sort of lose that uptrend and see this market potentially come back lower. So it's an attempt at a push off the 206, but this is just not something I'm very confident in. You can see this is not a very strong move. There's not really much desire for this continuation. And it makes sense, right? No one's going to be jumping in Tesla, with any type of major size, any type of real conviction before an FOMC event. So maybe today validates more upside here off this 206, but we will have to watch today. I would just monitor this little bottom that we're trying to form, monitor this uptrend that Tesla has formed over the last 2 weeks, see if it holds. If it does, look for that continuation. If it doesn't, right, if you break that uptrend, I would look maybe down towards this 206 again if the market continues to weaken. I want to go to Amazon because Amazon was ugly yesterday. Look at this move yesterday on Amazon. I mean, it was just systematic, right? That's the best word I can give you is systematic. It was just nonstop, just selling. Any type of reaction to the upside on the NASDAQ had no effect on Amazon. So if we go to the NASDAQ, let's look at like a moment where the NASDAQ sort of pushed higher here. Nice downside. Let's say like right here. This is between 1012 and 1035. So that was a little bit of a push to the upside. I actually caught this bear flag on the futures. That was actually very nice. But 1012 to 1035, let's look at Amazon. 1012 to 1035. You guys can see there was like a little bit of a hold, like a little bit, maybe a little bit of sideways rather than the sell-off, just bleeding, and then it just continued. So that's crazy. Yeah, I guess you could say what you call ugly was beautiful. Yeah, true, Mario. I agree with that. Yeah, beautiful or ugly, however you look at it. If you earn puts, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. But the reason I want to bring this up is because this is a very important break here. You guys see this here on the weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. This is back in 2019. This is that, I don't know if you guys remember the time. I mean, you probably think back. Amazon traded in a channel for almost a year. It was almost a year. I mean, this is actually almost 2 years. This is May 2018, and this is April 2020. So let's just call it May to May. 2 years Amazon traded in this channel, right? That was a 2-year channel trade on Amazon. That was terrible, right? Think about investors of Amazon at that time. Bought Amazon looking for growth, and they stayed sideways for 2 years. That sucks. But yesterday, you broke it, right? You had a previous high here. You had a previous high here. You had a previous demand hold here at 102, right? You had rejections into support. And yesterday, look at what you did, right? You broke right under it. So that, I believe, is why you saw one of the reasons why you saw a very aggressive selling, a systematic selling there, because you broke under a major support level right here on the 4-hour and then back in 2018, 2019. And you can see that we are back below it today. So we are back in the 2-year channel on Amazon, and this should be a very interesting trade. So let's see what it does. If it tries to get back above 102, I would look for maybe a rejection. Let's see, maybe if it tries to do something like this, maybe look for that rejection move off 102. Or look to see if the market is weak today. All right, if we see a weak market, maybe today over the next few weeks, I totally can see Amazon needing to retrace back to this channel low, right? I think that is a possibility. And then maybe we find another channel trade here for a very extended period of time, right? Maybe that's what happens here on Amazon. So let's watch this. I think this is something to definitely monitor. This is a major breakdown on a very large stock, breaking under this 2018 to 2020 channel at 102. Keep eyes on that. All right, AMD. So AMD had earnings yesterday, and we pushed into 63. You guys know this is a pretty major, the low on Amazon, Chef? What do you mean low? Like, since when? I mean, the low here is 80, probably around 80, I would assume. I'd watch that 80. That's sort of where it bounced in the channel, so I'd watch 80. AMD reported earnings last night. I didn't read too much into them. That was something I was planning on doing today. I didn't have time to do it before the stream, obviously. But let's go to the hourly chart. Actually, let's go 4 hour. And you guys can see we are right back at 63, right? And this is that supply level that we've been watching. So you can see the support here, and we are sitting right at it today. So today, you either see the nasty rejection of 63, and you can play this, right? If FOMC is negative, switch your charts to AMD and see where it's at, right? If the FOMC brings this market down, if the Nasdaq's taking a hit, check out AMD. If AMD is rejecting this 63, look for that play, right? This could be a nice supply rejection again on AMD. If it breaks above, if the market's strong today, let's say the market likes what it hears on FOMC. Let's say the market continues higher, right? I would look for that break on AMD of 63, and this could absolutely work. If the market's actually strong, this could absolutely work its way up through this channel, right? Up towards this 68. If that, of course, guys, right? And I say this every time. That's depending on what the market does on FOMC today. But here's the two things to watch. Either a rejection of this 63 supply, right? Or, oh, wow, you just got a push there, didn't you? Is that a... Yeah, wow, look at that. What are we getting? We getting a move on the Nasdaq? No, just a move on AMD. So you can see AMD is really trying to hold on to that 63 right now. That's crazy. It's really trying to hold on to that 63. So that's definitely a level to watch today, guys. 63. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah, either look for the major rejection, which is still very possible today. It's only pre-market. Look for the rejection, or look for that squeeze back up towards 68. All right, let's go NVIDIA. Another stock that I'm definitely watching here because I just think that chip stocks are like, I just don't get it, right? I think maybe it's just maybe it's too good to be true. But, if I can buy NVIDIA, what is this? If I can buy NVIDIA 60% off the highs in the sector that I like for future growth, that's why I'm so interested in it. But NVIDIA, 4 hour chart, here's something that's pretty interesting what it's doing. You guys can see we've been talking about that 134 supply level that has not been able to break. Now it is turning it into a demand, right? So you can see you had this previous demand here. It turned into a supply rejection, a rejection, right? And right here, look at what it's doing over the last few days. Over the last week, look at what it's doing, right? It has sort of flipped. It is sort of flipped at this level. This is a very clean little flip that you've seen. You've seen that rejection turn into a support, right? This is pretty important. It might not hold up because of FOMC, right? The macroeconomic event might change this outlook. But if you're reading technicals here, this is a nice little flip on NVIDIA from turning 134 into a rejection point into a support. So I'm definitely watching this, right? You have the rejections and you have the support now. So it has flipped. The price action has sort of flipped at this 134 level. And I think that's something to pay attention to. So if NVIDIA can find a little bit more bullish action, if the market can see upside, I really like NVIDIA off this 134 retest, right? You can see here on the 4 hour. I really like this to hold here. If the market can continue, I like this probably back to 146, back up to this previous high. Now, of course, that's going to require a very strong NASDAQ. That's going to require a push to the upside on the market, and we'll see if that actually happens. If it does not, then I'd look for NVIDIA to break back below 134, sort of lose this again, turn it into a supply again, and then just continue lower. All right? So either way, 134, major level to watch here on NVIDIA. Very influential level. Microsoft, it's just sort of dead. It sucks to say, but Microsoft really is like dead money right now. It's just not going nowhere, and it just can't get over 250. It cannot get over 250. This level is very harsh. You can see these multiple supports that have turned into a double top rejection. That is not bullish in any sense, any way. The only way you can get bullish on Microsoft here is a break above 250. right? You just can't be bullish on Microsoft short term unless it's above 250. So I just wanted to show you guys this. It's a very strong underperformance, right, versus the rest of the market. You can see a stock like NVIDIA has been sort of uptrending, right? Look at the difference here between these two stocks. You can see an uptrend since the 12th of October. You have been in an uptrend on NVIDIA, right? Since the 12th of October, you have been in an uptrend on AMD. And then if you take Microsoft from the 12th of October, right, from the 12th of October, which is around here, to where we are now, if you net where we are, it did have a little uptrend, but if you net where that stock is from the 12th of October, it is basically flat. So there's some interesting changes going on that I've started to realize. I made a video about it a few weeks or last week. I'm sure it was very low watched video, not very interesting topic, but it is important. There's a lot of divergence going on. It's not, everything's not moving the same as it used to. You have stocks like Meta that are just dead. I mean, they're not going up with the market at all. Totally dead on Meta, right? You had Amazon yesterday that is making new lows while NVIDIA, AMD are moving higher. You have Google, which has been moving lower very aggressively. So it seems like it's getting a little bit more sector specific, a little bit more of a very particular. The market is getting particular about where the money goes. It's not like we're gonna buy all of tech and tech's just gonna go up, right? You've seen outperformance in the semiconductor space. You've seen, outperformance in the energy sector. So it's a lot more of a, specific than a broad stroke on the market right now. And it's something to be, if you really like to pay attention to the market, I know a lot of people don't, right? I know people just want to trade and not pay attention to the market. But knowing these things helps a lot, guys. If you come into the day and you have a good understanding of what's going on in the market, and you have a good understanding of, where money's been flowing and the divergence you're seeing, what sectors are strong, what sectors are weak, it definitely helps your trading, right? Also, solar, right? Like FSLR and Enphase have been very strong, right? Those two stocks, that sector, that solar sector has been strong as well. All right, let's go Netflix. So Netflix, I think, broke a pretty important level yesterday, and I think it could continue to slip here. That's sort of my original thought process. 290. 290, I think, needed to hold. You can see right here, 290, 290. You broke below it yesterday. So Netflix under 290, I think, is a little bit dangerous. I would look to see if it turns 290 into a rejection point. If Netflix rejects 290, then I would look for the move back to 280, 278, 280, right? That would be where I think Netflix needs to come back down to. I think you need to retest this breakout level. That would be where I'd be more interested in Netflix, back at a retest of 280. So if the market's weak today, I would look for Netflix down to 280, look for it to reject 290, look for it to turn that support into a rejection. All right. And the last thing I want to go over is just some of the sectors to get us familiar with what's been strong. So we all know the energy sector is very strong. Let's watch that for continuation. All right, we all know that the energy sector has been the outperformer of the year. It's up a significant amount this year, and it looks like it wants to continue. I would just watch 90 on XLE to see if that continues. XLF has been secretly moving higher as well. A little bit quiet on the XLF side, but XLF has been moving higher nicely as well, along with that Dow Jones. You can see stocks like JPM have been breaking out nicely. You can see Bank of America has been moving nicely. Goldman Sachs has had a nice move lately. So that XLF, that financial sector, has been moving, something to watch out for. XLV, this is healthcare. This is sort of holding up as well. You got stocks like UNH, which are at all-time highs. You got stocks like AbbVie, which have been, sort of strong in the short term. I'm sure other stocks like Procter & Gamble and some other healthcare names. Is Procter & Gamble healthcare? Or is that XLP? J&J, okay, yeah. J&J, PFE, Eli Lilly. So let's say J&J, PFE, Pfizer, right? Lilly. So some healthcare names. Lilly's is this at all-time highs? Yeah, I mean, look at this stock, guys. It's like the stock. It's like it never. It's if you looked at this stock, it's like the stock market is at all-time highs and everything's just fine and dandy. I mean, look at this. That's wild. It's wild to look at. It really is. In a market where everything's so just so ugly, look at Eli Lilly's chart and look at the desire to be in this name. Right? That is pretty incredible. That's a pretty incredible uptrend on Eli Lilly there. So that's pretty sick to see. So just sort of shows you guys, right, that the sectors, there's these sectors that are still very, very strong if you look away from, big tech. Finally, XLV, or we did XLV, XLP, this is consumer staples. This is sort of your safety trade. This is the things you think about that, you need every day, right? Walmart, you have Costco in here. You have Procter & Gamble, right? The things they make, toothpaste and all that other, necessity products. I'll go ahead and pull it up for you so you can see all the names again. P&G, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Costco, Walmart. I think Costco has been pushing up this list. Honestly, I don't remember Costco being number 4 on this list. Costco might be becoming a bigger part of this XLP than previous. I really do think that it had, because I don't remember Costco at 4 there. But Procter & Gamble has been okay. Costco's been holding up pretty well, right? Walmart's been pretty okay as well. So you're seeing a little bit of hold on that XLP as well. So just wanted to end the stream with some reminder that there are other sectors out there that are still performing in this market and to watch out for that, that divergence that we're seeing. All right, let's go ahead and jump over to the ticker form so we can go over what you want to look at today. All right, we're going to go over Qualcomm, Etsy, QQQ, mRNA, is that REGN? I'm not sure what that is. JPM and CVX. All right. Let's go Qualcomm. These have earnings, but I'll go ahead and go over it. I know you guys want to try to get technicals on earnings, which really doesn't matter, but here it is. So I would watch the 125 rejection point here on Qualcomm. This looks like a big rejection point to watch out for, right? If you can't get over 125, it's going to stay bearish. So I would say look out for 125, previous support, previous support, previous support. If that turns into a rejection point, then I'd look for more downside. You also just need to watch the overall semiconductor space and how strong the semiconductors have been. I would watch that as well. Etsy has earnings as well. You're sitting at a 91, pretty important level here. If you break this level, look for the downside on earnings. Expected move on Etsy is $10, so it's more than 10%. It's a very large expected move. Expected move on Qualcomm is 8.7. That's about 8%, 7%. That's a pretty big expected move as well. QQQ, we go over this every day. Just go look at the NASDAQ chart that I did, guys. mRNA. mRNA has been pretty hot lately. It's had sort of an sort of a move to the upside in the short term. I think the best buying opportunity on mRNA was right here, guys, and I missed it. I was watching this, actually. This was your best buying opportunity on mRNA. Now, why do I say this? You guys can see previous rejection, and if I zoom in, look at what mRNA did here for 2 days. Let's go to the hourly chart. Look at this. Break, hold, push, right? Right at the previous rejection point. That was your perfect buying opportunity on mRNA. Okay? REGN, Regeneron, all-time highs, pretty much, I would assume. This is a stock you buy, guys. You don't trade a stock like this. On a pullback, you buy the stock and you invest in it long term. That's what I would do. This is not really something I can. I mean, it's moved up big here. I don't know what this gap up's all about. You got a little bit of possible rejections here. It broke over to that 746 level. You got a possible gap to fill down below at 680. I would want to see it hold above this 675, 670 or 645, 646 level to maintain bullish here. But this is a stock you buy. It's not a stock you trade. JPM has been hot. All right, JPM has been hot. XLF has been hot. I would still want to pull back. It will come. Trust me. I know you're probably getting restless, right? Because you see it keep going, and you're like, God damn, I missed it. I promise you, there will be a pullback. And when that pullback comes, you better be looking for it. CVX, there's always a pullback. You just have to wait for it. Trust me. CVX, look for it to hold the previous highs here, 183. Look for it to hold those previous highs. If it does not hold those previous highs, stop with the long-term investing. Look at metal. Okay. Previous rejection here. Look for it to hold that level at around 182, 183. All right. If it turns the previous high into a support, then I would hold that level. Right. I would hold that level. I would look for it to hold that level. If it turns this into support, that's the previous high back here. Right. I would want to see that turn into a support. If it does not, I would assume this slips a little bit. All right, guys. Once again, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Remember, 2 o'clock today, FOMC, very big event. It's going to be very volatile, very dangerous if you guys are jumping in and out of trades. There's going to be 2 separate moves, one at 2 o'clock, one at 2:30. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be crazy. So take it as easy as you can, right? Take it easy. You don't need to try to hit a home run today. You don't need to go crazy. Yes, I will be live in Discord at 2, Kasim. I'll be there. We'll be trading at 2 today. I'll jump on for it. All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. Press the like button if you could before you head out. That would be much appreciated. One day we'll get, everyone here to press the like button. I'm going to work towards it. I'm going to keep grinding until everyone in this live stream that is watching presses the like button. I will not give up. Rebuke the YOLO. Shout out to the cult. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.